Hawkeye Sports Network. From Learfield, Iowa Hawkeye Softball is brought to you by Homewood and Home 2 Suites, preferred hotel of the Hawkeye Radio Network. Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. When corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Oak Knoll, an active life care community by University of Iowa Healthcare. Changing medicine, changing lives. Wimmer's Meats, the official hot dog of the Hawkeyes. And by Iowa City Tire and Service, a proud supporter of Hawkeye softball. Iowa City Tire, where service actually comes first. Hawkeye softball is on the air.
You are listening live to another edition of Iowa Softball. The ladies of the Diamond travel to the 35-degree Minneapolis to play Game 2 of our 3-game series against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Hi, I'm Lucas Strain, and you are listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Now, as I said, this is Game 2 of our 3-game set. Minnesota winning Game 1 yesterday by a final score of 6-0 is the second time in as many weekends that the Hawkeyes have been shut out in a game. Looking to bounce back and take the series, tie up the series and look for the series win a game tomorrow in the series finale against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Today's game was originally supposed to start at 1 o'clock, but as I said in my opening line, it is 35 degrees in Minneapolis, so the game was pushed back about 2 hours. It snowed yesterday at the end of our game, a couple flurries in the air, and there was snow in the forecast once again. As a precaution, the game was moved back 2 hours, yet here we are, 3 o'clock start time, or just about, in our pregame coverage, and we're just about set to play 7 innings of Iowa softball. And if we take a look at the Hawkeye starting lineup, the top 4 are going to remain the same as always. Leading things off will be Nia Carter out in right field, batting second. Tatiana Roman, who will be roaming out in center field. Batting third and playing shortstop is freshman number 1, Tori Bennett. In the cleanup spot and over at the hot corner is number 23, Grace Baines. Now, 5 spots where we're going to see a little bit of change in Coach Gillespie's lineup. Briley Klosterman has moved her way back up to the 5 spot. You see the lineup's kind of been fluctuating the last couple of weeks, particularly in the 5 through 8 spot in the lineup. Klosterman has worked her way back up into the 5 hole. This after going 1 for 3 yesterday, one of the 4 Hawkeye hits, which I'll get into just a little bit later. So Briley Klosterman is hitting 5th and playing left field. Batting 6th is Denali Lecker, who is the designated player. Batting 7th and playing first base, number 7, Sammy Diaz. Batting 8th and catching, as always, number 2, Tristan Doster. And rounding out the lineup and playing second base is Anna Streffen. In the circle for the Hawkeyes will be freshman Jalen Adams. Adams looks to continue what has been a very successful freshman year for the Hawkeyes. And if we look over at the Minnesota starting lineup, the first person that we have to point out is Autumn Pease. If you remember yesterday, Pease went all 7 innings, getting her 4th complete game shutout of the season, only allowing 4 hits for the Hawkeyes and acquiring 10 strikeouts, 7 of those strikeouts in the Hawkeyes' first time through the order. So the Hawkeyes are going to have to try and jump on her early, and what this really makes me think of is back to the Hawkeyes' very first series of Big Ten play when they traveled to Penn State and were battling who was a very successful pitcher for the Nittany Lions at the time in Bailey Parshall. Parshall really dominated the Hawkeyes in the first game on Friday, and then the second time through the Hawkeyes saw her in the series. They jumped on her for 4 runs in the second inning and chased her out of the game quickly. So the Hawkeyes are going to look to do something similar here to Autumn Pease, who again, only yesterday went 7 innings, allowing 0 runs on 4 hits and striking out 10. And if we look at the Minnesota lineup, this is a lineup that powered 2 home runs yesterday. The home runs off of the bat of Den Hartog in the 3 spot and Kraft, who's in the 7 spot, so they have power all over the lineup. So if we look at Minnesota offensively in this one, they're going to roll out the exact same batting order that they did yesterday. Kayla Chavez will lead things off at third base. Amani Bradley will bat second and left. Natalie Den Hartog, who again had that big home run. It was the first runs of the game yesterday in the bottom of the third, a 2-run shot off of Brianna Vasquez over the left field wall, gave Minnesota a 2-0 lead. And batting cleanup is Jess Oakland. Oakland, a freshman, just coming off a week of winning the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. A week in which she hit 500 and went 1 for 3 yesterday. And batting fifth will be Taylor Kraft. So I was wrong after my initial statement. There is a little tick there's a little bit of a tick, a little bit of a change in the Minnesota lineup. Kraft has moved her way up to the 5 spot after hitting that 2-run home run yesterday. And Sydney Strelo drops a spot, so it's just Kraft and Strelo switching 5 and 6. And batting 7th is the DP, Maddie Elke, batting 8th. First baseman Delaney Coxon rounding out the lineup is right fielder number 1, Breezy Burnett. As we just finished up the national anthem, we're going to take a quick 60-second break as we await the first pitch. You're listening to Iowa Softball Game 2 against the Minnesota Golden Gophers coming up next on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the number 1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win.
Minnesota has taken the field defensively as Autumn Pease is just finishing her warm-up pitches. As we're just about to get underway here in 35-degree Minneapolis, Minnesota. After a 2-hour delay, we're just about ready to get started. Leading things off for the Hawkeyes will be number 14, right fielder Nia Carter. Carter, who is hitting .475 on the season. That .475 batting average leads the Big Ten. She also leads the Big Ten in hits. Yesterday, she had half of the Iowa hits offensively, a team that only mustered 4 as a squad. Nia Carter had 2 of them. She led off yesterday's game with a double off the right field wall before back-to-back-to-back strikeouts stranded her at second base. And what was probably the Hawkeyes' best chance to score. And she gets into the left-handed batter's box and awaits first pitch. And she takes a curveball inside for ball 1, and we are officially underway in Game 2 of our 3-game set between the Iowa Hawkeyes and Minnesota Golden Gophers. Hi, I'm Lucas Strain, and thanks for tuning in to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network. The 1-0 pitch from Pease misses outside to the left-handed stick in Carter, so the count is 2-0. As I said, Carter led off yesterday's game with a double off the right field wall. She backed it up in her next AB in the third with a single on a ground ball into left. So spraying it all over the field as she usually does. The 2-0 curveball catches the lower part of the zone for strike. And the count's 2-1. Hawkeyes wearing their gold uniforms today. My personal favorites. When they wear gold this year, an 11-5 record. It's gold tops, black pants with gold stirrups over black socks. The 2-1 is called a strike on the outer half, so the count evens at 2 apiece. It's a very rare time in which we see this will be the 5th pitch of the at-bat upcoming, and Nia Carter hasn't swung once. We know Nia's a very aggressive batter when she's in the box, loves swinging first pitch, not doing it here though. She swings at this one and fouls it down the first base line. And the count is still 2-2. Carter looking to go back-to-back games with the leadoff base hit for the Hawkeyes. And here's a weak fly ball into shallow left field. Bradley coming on and makes the play for the first out of the ball game. So now it'll be Tatiana Roman offensively for Iowa. Roman yesterday went 0 for 2, had a sacrifice bunt. However, in the 3rd inning, that was a 3rd inning, kind of a curious bunting situation out of Coach Gillespie. The Hawkeyes had runners on 1st and 2nd with 1 out as strike 1 is taken by Roman. Runners on 1st and 2nd with 1 out, and Roman puts down the sacrifice to move runners to 2nd and 3rd, but there were 2 outs at that point, and I get the idea with Nia Carter's speed at second base and Tori Bennett, who's tied for 9th in the Big Ten in hits. Any base hit was likely going to score 2 as the 0-1 misses outside. So the count is 1-1 with 1 away as Tatiana Roman gets back into the left-handed box. And there's a strike in the outside corner. Count is 1-2. So a lot different approach from the Hawkeyes thus far. Yesterday, the team was very aggressive in the box. Today we've seen both Carter and Roman take the first couple pitches they've seen. Roman swings at this one and spoils it. Counts 1-2. Minnesota's wearing their all-maroon uniforms today, same ones they wore yesterday. Maroon tops with maroon pants and their gold lettering, gold yellowish, I guess you could say, lettering across the chest and their numbers across their back. The 1-2 from Pease is a changeup that's taken outside. Counts 2-2. Roman struggling thus far in Big Ten play. He is 11 for 48 since that first weekend at Penn State. The 2-2 pitch from Pease. He's a check swing and Roman went around for the swing and a miss. So that's the first strikeout of the afternoon for Autumn Pease after she struck out 10 Hawkeyes yesterday. So now it'll be Tori Bennett for the Hawkeyes. Bennett went 1 for 3 yesterday, had one of the 4 Iowa hits offensively. It was a bloop single that just kind of found no man's land in left field. Bennett takes first pitch, a ball that misses outside, 1-0. Bennett hitting .318 this season with a .381 OBP, and as I said, tied for 9th in the Big Ten in hits coming into the weekend. The 1-0 misses outside as well. So Bennett's got herself ahead, 2 balls, no strikes. Already working Pease's pitch count. Is getting ready to throw her 15th pitch of the game. And we're not even through the first inning yet. The 2-0 is swung on and missed. So 2 balls and 1 strike to the freshman shortstop. Last weekend in the Maryland series, Tori Bennett went 0 for 9, and that was the first hitless weekend of the season for her. As the 2-1 is yanked upstairs, 3-1. Has been a very solid spot for Coach Gillespie in what is Bennett's freshman season. I went back and I looked at some of the Iowa lineups from fall ball earlier this year, and it had Bennett batting. This is when the teams split between two different teams for scrimmages. As Bennett swings and misses and the count goes full. The team is split into two different lineups for scrimmages against one another and against other teams from around the area, and it saw Bennett hitting in the 6 hole, maybe the 7 hole, so it's kind of a time when it puts a smile on your face. You see how much success that the freshman has had and has solidified herself in the 3 spot. And here's a fly ball into left field. Bradley barely has to move, makes the two-handed catch. For out number 3 as the Hawkeyes go 3 up, 3 down in the top half of the first. Minnesota's coming up to bat. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
Minnesota is going to come to the bat for the first time today, and they're going to be going up against freshman Jalen Adams for the Hawkeyes. The freshman out of Fort Dodge, Iowa, in her first season repping the black and gold. Adams has posted a 6-10 record, but the record is kind of skewed. She's got a 2.24 ERA in 93 2/3 innings pitched this season. That's the second most innings for the Hawkeyes this year. She only had 1 appearance last weekend. Coach Gillespie's been running the same formula all season long, or at least the last couple of series, in which Brianna Vasquez will start the first game. Jalen Adams gets the ball in game 2, and then back to Vasquez for game 3. So Adams is getting the ball right now in what is game 2. In her appearance last weekend against Maryland, she went 6 2/3 innings, allowing 2 runs on 5 hits, had a pair of strikeouts, and also walked 2. And her first pitch to Kayla Chavez misses inside. And the count's 1-0. Chavez yesterday went 2 for 3, the only Minnesota player to achieve multiple hits. As she pops one up on the infield, Bennett goes over and makes the play for out number 1. So the only players on both teams to achieve multiple hits came out of the leadoff spot for both squads. And now it'll be Amani Bradley, who yesterday went 0 for 3, but also drew a walk. A 248 hitter this season as the first pitch misses up and in, 1-0. The 1-0 pitch from Adams misses inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Bradley, a left-handed stick, takes the slap approach. As I said, went 0 for 3 yesterday. 248 hitter with a 339 OBP. Watches strike 1 go past. Counts 2-1. Adams 2-1 pitch. Bradley shows bunt, pulls back. Pitch misses up and out. Count is 3-1. Bradley, she's really someone on this team who's going to do a bulk of their scoring, has scored 22 times this year. And she fouls one off behind the plate, and the count's full. And something she really does is she has tremendous speed in this second spot. You see there's kind of a change in baseball and softball nowadays where you want to put a really good hitter in your 2 spot. But both of these teams elect to go with a speedy player. And here's a hard ground ball down the right field line. Gets past Diaz, and it's going to roll to the wall. Bradley rounds second and heads towards third. And has a stand-up, 1-out triple for the Golden Gophers. It was a 1-hop of a ground ball. Diaz might have had a play on it, but it was right over the first base bag. And she would have had to field it off of the 1-hop, and it was hit so hard that it rolled all the way to the wall before Carter could attempt to cut it off. And Bradley, who was running hard out of the box, easily achieved the stand-up triple. As Adams misses on the first pitch to Natalie Den Hartog. And this is a dangerous batter to have up right now for Minnesota, who, again, remember, she hit the 2-run home run yesterday to give Minnesota their first runs of the game. Adams' screwball is called strike. Den Hartog looks behind and asks the home plate umpire, "Are you sure that one caught the zone?" It did look to run in just a little bit, but the umpire said that it just did catch the black, and the count's 1-1. It was a nice screwball. We'll see if we're going to see some parity with a curveball on the outer half. Here is an off-speed, but it stays inside, and Hartog's a little out in front. Fouls it off the netting and falls behind 1-2. So Minnesota has a runner in scoring position early. With who might be their best offensive player at the plate. The 1-2 misses upstairs. And it's 2-2. Den Hartog already has 29 RBIs this season. And she fouls another one off. Count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes. As I said, she has 29 RBIs on the year in what is her 5th year for Minnesota, the grad student from Hopkins, Minnesota, out of Hopkins High School. She had 64 ribbies in her freshman year, and this is really the worst year she's had offensively, at least batting average-wise, and she's still hitting .318. The 2-2 is popped up. Going back by the netting is Doster, and Doster will make the catch in foul territory for out number 2. So Den Hartog strands Bradley at third. Nice play from the Iowa catcher. I couldn't really see an angle on it. Didn't see if Doster was going to have room to get there. But she made the catch and was able to walk Bradley back towards third. So that takes the sac fly out of the equation. And there's now 2 away, and Jess Oakland coming to the plate for Minnesota. Jalen Adams looking to avoid what was a 1-out triple off the bat of Amani Bradley. Called strike 1 on the lower inside corner. Jess Oakland, a .312 hitter this year, a .435 OBP. The 0-1 off speed misses upstairs. And the count's 1-1. Runner on third here in the bottom of the first inning, after Iowa went 3 up, 3 down in the top half. Looking to hold Minnesota scoreless to keep this game tied. Curveball skims across the dirt, counts 2-1. Oakland yesterday, 1 for 3. It was really the heart of this Minnesota lineup that manufactured all their runs. As here's a hard ground ball. Bennett dives, gloves it. The throw over is dropped a little bit high for the glove of Diaz. It's going to go down as a base hit anyway. Jess Oakland's going to get an RBI infield single. And Amani Bradley crosses the plate, and Minnesota takes the 1-0 lead. Really good play from Bennett at shortstop, and I'm getting a look at the replay now. Diaz, I think she just mistimed her stretch just a little bit. Hit off the very edge, very tip of the glove. They're going to call it an error on Diaz. I thought that there was maybe a chance. I thought that even if Diaz was able to glove it cleanly, that the runner in Oakland was still going to beat the throw. But the official scorekeeper says opposite, and they call it an error on Sammy Diaz. And here's a pop fly that's going into shallow right field. Carter makes a sliding attempt. It drops in front of her. Now she kicks it into the infield, and now we're going to have a play at the plate, and Oakland is thrown out easily for out number 3. So we'll give a quick little recap as to what happened. Taylor Kraft, the batter, hits a weak pop fly into shallow right, and Nia Carter, the right fielder, came in on it and tried to make a sliding catch, but she was just a little bit late. And when she went for the pick, kind of booted it way into the infield, and both Diaz and Streff, who were going out to try and make the catch as well, it kicked past them. And Oakland, who was the runner on first and running with off the crack of the bat because there's 2 outs, rounding third, it headed home, but Tori Bennett, the Hawkeyes shortstop, alertly ran all the way across the diamond, picked up the ball, and fired it home to Doster, and Oakland was out by quite a few feet. So that limits the damage, as Minnesota's only able to score 1. But they do take the 1-0 lead off of 2 hits and the Hawkeye air. So after 1 complete, Minnesota leads at 1-0. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye softball.
I'm getting a look at the official scoring now, and they're going to call it a double off of the bat of Taylor Kraft. If you're one of the, if you like to keep your own official stats back at home, it'll go down as a double off the bat of Kraft, and then Oakland was thrown out trying to score on the play. But nonetheless, Minnesota leads it 1-0 as we head to the top of the second, and Grace Baines will lead things off. Baines is hitting .264 on the season. Went 0 for 3 yesterday. As she watches strike 2 go past her. Went 0 for 3 yesterday. And that means she is 0 for her last 15. So a little bit of a cold stretch for the Iowa cleanup hitter. And she's behind 0-2. She just gets enough of 1 to foul it off and stick tough with 2. And staying tough with 2 is something that's going to be important for her, and she struck out twice in yesterday's game. But she's still behind 0-2 now as Autumn Pease goes into the motion, and the pitch is way inside. Baines had to jump out of the way. And the count's 1-2. See a little bit of a head bump, if you will, a little frustration from Gillespie. Wanted Baines to maybe stay in and wear that one. And she knows how important it is to get runners against Pease. And Baines, it's a hard line drive back up the middle. for a base hit, so no hit by pitch is necessary. Bain says she'll just do it with the bat. And that's a leadoff single for Grace Baines here in the top of the second. It'll bring up Briley Klosterman for Iowa. Klosterman hitting .284, had a hit in yesterday's game too. Moved her way up. As I said at the top, the Iowa lineup seems to have been fluctuating the last couple of weeks, and Klosterman, who hit down in the 8th spot yesterday, has moved her way up to 5. And she swings and misses at the first pitch, 0-1. One of 3 Iowa players to tally a hit in yesterday's game. Bain stands on first. Here in the top of the second inning, the 0-1 misses outside. Counts 1-1. This is game 2 of our 3-game series against Minnesota. Klosterman swings and misses. Strike 2, counts 1-2. Iowa baseball is also in action currently. They're at home against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. They hold a 4-0 lead after winning yesterday's game 11-4. I believe was the final score. Might have been 11-5. I believe Nebraska scored a couple in the last inning. As the 1-2 misses outside to Klosterman. Iowa leads it 4-0 right now in the baseball diamond. In the softball world, Hawkeyes trail it 1-0. Baseball team going up against Nebraska, who is number 1 in the Big Ten standings coming into the weekend. But this before Iowa giving them the loss in Game 1 yesterday. Klosterman chases out of the zone and goes down swinging for strike 3. P's second strikeout of the game after getting 10 of them yesterday. And now it's Denali Lecker, the Iowa designated player, who leads the team in RBIs and in home runs, but is still looking for the first home run in Big Ten play. Swings and misses at a curveball. 0-1. As I said, she's still looking for that first home run. Hasn't hit a home run since March 12th. So it's been over a month, nearly 6 weeks, since Denali Lecker's left the yard. Counts 1-1. And this is from Lecker, who led the team in home runs last year with 10. 7th all-time in career home runs for the Hawkeyes. Jumped out to a great start this year. And has just been struggling as of late. Swings and misses, counts 1-2. We're seeing Autumn Pease is really mixing up her pitch as well. And everything seems to be in the bottom of the zone. Doesn't really want to let the Hawkeyes try and elevate the ball. They're just keeping everything low. Denali Lecker spoils this one. And the count is still 1-2. In yesterday's game, Lecker went 0 for 3. And in the 4 through 7 spot in the order, as the 1-2 misses low, counts 2-2. The 4 through 7 spot went 0 for 11 for the Hawkeyes yesterday, and what was really just the offensive letdown. But they're looking to change things here in Game 2. Have Grace Bain standing on first after she led off the second inning with a line drive single into center. Lecker hits a hard ground ball on the left side that's going to reach the outfield. As she stays through the ball and rips one into left. Hawkeyes have runners on first and second with 1 out. And Sammy Diaz coming to the plate. And he said that Pease has been mixing her stuff well and keeping everything in the bottom of the zone. Maybe Lecker picked up on that as well. And saw the off-speed on the inside part of the plate. Sat back on it. Stayed through the baseball, or through the softball, I should say, and ripped it into left field. So a pair of singles here for Iowa. And Sammy Diaz will look to bring home Baines. Watches a curveball across the plate for strike one. Diaz moved down to the 7th spot after hitting 5th yesterday and hitting 5th for last couple of games. Went 0 for 3 in yesterday's game. The 0-1 misses outside 1-1. So 1-1 count as Diaz checks her play ban. Maybe Iowa's looking to put a bunt down. We saw yesterday the Hawkeyes elect to bunt when they had runners on first and second with one out, and we're in that exact situation now. No bunt now as Diaz swings away and fouls one off the netting along the right side. And the count's 1-2. Diaz very good at drawing the walk, leads the team with 20 of them this year, but is behind 1-2 right now. The 1-2 from Pease is a line drive into right field. Burnett charges and comes on, and Baines is going to put the brakes on at third. So Sammy Diaz with the line drive single into right field, and the Hawkeyes have the bases loaded. I think that was the right call, not sending Baines from second, trying to have her go from second to home. It was hit hard off the bat of Diaz. And Breezy Burnett, the Minnesota right fielder, was charging hard and would have had a great chance. She made a really good throw to keep Baines at third. So the bases are loaded with one away, and Tristan Doster is coming to the plate. And remember how I said at the top that today's game reminds me of a chance of the Hawkeyes had in the first series of the year, in which they struggled against Bailey Partial in the first game that they saw her of the weekend, and then the next time they jumped on her for 4 runs in the second. And after going 3 up, 3 down in the first, Iowa now has the bases loaded with 1 out and Tristan Doster at the plate. Doster, who's hitting .326 this season, a .371 OBP with 19 RBIs. And we have a runner out at second base for Lecker. And it's Haley Down who represents the go-ahead run out there standing on second. So Pease's curveball is called strike, and we're seeing a pretty different zone that we saw yesterday. Yesterday, we didn't see anything that was around the lettering get called a strike. This time, if it's around there, our home plate umpire's putting his fist in the air. So the count's 0-1 to Doster. Swings and misses, strike 2. Hawkeyes don't want to spoil this opportunity. Bases loaded with 1 out. Trailing by 1 here in the top of the second inning. Doster's behind 0-2, goes into her 2-strike approach. The pitch from Pease misses way outside. Doster doesn't offer. And the count's 1-2. Doster has become the primary catcher for the Hawkeyes this year. The 1-2 pitch from Pease. And Doster just gets enough of it and fouls it down the right field line and kind of just lunged out at that one. Knew she really didn't have a play on it and just kind of stuck the bat out there and was able to just punch it down the right field line. So the count's still 1-2. Bases juiced, one away. Infield's in for Minnesota. And the 1-2 misses up and out. And evens at 2-2. So Minnesota coach Piper Ritter doesn't want to see the tying run cross the plate for Iowa, as she has all 4 infield spots in. The 2-2 pitch is a ground ball to shortstop. The throw home is in time for the force out. So the Hawkeyes aren't going to score a run just quite yet, maybe. It was a weak ground ball that stayed in the infield. And I said that they had the infield playing in. Jess Oakland, the Minnesota shortstop, came on and threw home. To cut off the tying run for Iowa. So now there's 2 away as Anna Streff will come in now. She fouls off the first pitch. 0-1. Streff hitting .208 this year with a .260 OBP. Yesterday, went 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Looking to come up big now for Iowa. The 0-1 is cut on and missed. Strike 2. This, a game yesterday in which Iowa went 0 for 4 as a team with runners in scoring position. Didn't even have a player reach second base after the 3rd inning. So the count's 0-2 with the bases juiced and 2 away, and Streff chases out of the zone for strike 3. So the Hawkeyes load the bases with 1 out, but are unable to push across the tying run. And they remain scoreless. After 1.5, Minnesota leads it 1-0. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
Jalen Adams back out for her 2nd inning of work after giving up 1 run on 2 hits in the first. When corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Take a closer look and you'll discover the many connections you have to corn. And these connections translate into wins for farmers and wins for all Iowans. Share your winning moments using hashtag IowansWin. Leading off the bottom of the 2nd inning for Minnesota will be Sydney Strelo. Strelo, a 5'4" senior from Kenosha, Wisconsin, is hitting .183 coming into the weekend. But yesterday went 1 for 3, including an RBI. Yeah, it came off of a double in the bottom of the 6th inning. Bunt attempt, but she misses it, so the count's 0-1. This was a bottom of the 6th inning in which Minnesota scored 4 runs. The score had remained 2-0 after the 2-run home run in the bottom of the 3rd. It had stayed that way until the bottom of the 6th, until Minnesota scored 4 runs to make it a 6-0 game. Here's a single into left field off the bat of Strelo. So leadoff runner reaches for Minnesota, and Maddie Elke will step up to the plate. Maddie Elke is hitting .300 this year. Had a hit in yesterday's game. Adams misses outside 1-0.
.300 batting average, .371 OBP, and a .487 slugging from the left side. And as I said, went 1 for 3 yesterday. He's ahead 0-1, check swing, foul ball down the left field line. So the count's 1-1. Runner stands on first and Strelo. As Minnesota leads it 1-0 in the bottom of the second inning. No one misses outside. 1-1. Or excuse me, 2-1. Scoreboard was a little delayed. The 2-1 pitch misses high, and it goes 3-1. A nice big day for Iowa athletics all across the board. Iowa softball playing in Minnesota. I already mentioned how baseball is hosting Nebraska, as here's a foul ball down the right field line. Counts full. It's also a big day for Iowa football. They saw their first spring practice happen at Kinnick Stadium today. Cade McNamara, the transfer out of Michigan, who brought his buddy Eric All with him, threw a touchdown pass in that spring practice, and that's something Hawkeye fans are hoping to hear quite a bit this next season. As Elke draws the walk, and there's runners on first and second now, and there's nobody out. We'll see if Minnesota elects to go with a bunt opportunity here with Delaney Cox. It's a situation in which you have runners on first and second and nobody out. It's almost a guarantee for some people, for some coaches, that you're bunting in this situation. Looking at Minnesota's statistics, and they don't have sacrifices listed. So I don't know how many times Delaney Cox has laid down a sacrifice bunt this year. As here's a foul ball off the bat of Cox. So the count's 0-1. And she does show bunt. Baines comes on from third, fields it and throws over to the covering Streff for out number 1, so both teams satisfied with what just happened. Cox gets the bunt down and advances the 2 runners, and Iowa takes the free out. And now Breezy Burnett is scheduled to bat for Minnesota, the 9-hole hitter, but we saw her get pinch hit for twice in yesterday's game. She is going to get to bat now, however. And she swings and misses at the first pitch. Strike 1. A strikeout would be huge for Jalen Adams in this spot. Burnett this year very productive out of the 9 spot, 233 hitter. But watches strike 2 cross the plate, counts 0-2. 233 batting average with a .517 slugging. That's due to the fact that she's hit 4 home runs this year. The 0-2 is a line drive down the left field line. Nice catch by Grace Baines over at third. And she steps on third for the double play. Wow, what a play from Grace Baines. That was ripped off the bat of Burnett. And it was gloved by Baines over at the hot corner. And Strelo, who had gotten off the bag a little bit too far, was caught watching, and Baines was able to step on third and turn the double play all on her own. So Minnesota gets runners on second and third with one away. But Grace Baines turns a double play all on her own to get the Hawkeyes out of the jam. As we head to the top of the third, Iowa trails at 1-0. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
Top of the third, Iowa trails at 1-0, and Nia Carter is going to lead things off for the Hawkeyes. University of Iowa Healthcare has the game plan for your same-day healthcare needs. If you need treatment for a common illness or minor injury, visit one of several UI Quick Care or Urgent Care locations throughout the Iowa City-Cedar Rapids corridor. Their care and expertise will help you get back in the game. UI Healthcare is proud to sponsor your Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa looking to get something going up against Autumn Pease. Pease has thrown 9 innings against Iowa this weekend and has held them scoreless. Nia Carter shows bunt, gets it down, and she beats the throw from the charging Chavez. So that's a leadoff bunt single for Nia Carter. Her speed is too much for the Golden Gophers. So Nia Carter stands on first base after the leadoff single. And Tatiana Roman will come back now for Iowa. She shows bunt but pulls back. It's out of the zone. 1-0. She showed bunt in a spot where she would be bunting for a hit. But Kayla Chavez, the Minnesota third baseman, pretty much already expecting it, was already halfway down the line. She shows bunt again, gets it down just in front of the plate, but no, umpire says it's a foul ball. Said that it hit Roman while she was still in the box, and yep, looking at the replay, it definitely did. It's a shame because, say it still did hit her, and the umpire just didn't notice. That's a really good bunt. She would have beaten the throw, and Iowa would have had runners on first and second with nobody out, but the umpire caught it and beckoned Roman back into the box. So Carter stands on first, nobody out, in a 1-1 count. Shows bunt, gets it down the third base line, pushes it foul. So the count's 1-2. Roman, who had a sacrifice in yesterday's game, but she's looking to bunt for a hit here. But now with 2 strikes, have to imagine that the bunt's called off. But you never know. I watched Iowa's baseball game yesterday, and the Nebraska cleanup hitter tried to bunt with 2 strikes, and he fouled it off for the strikeout. Tatiana Roman takes the curveball a little bit low. Count evens at 2-2. Carter represents the tying run over at first base and what would be the first run Iowa scored over the weekend. Roman hits a fly ball down left field. It's in foul territory, but it's going to stay in the park. Monty Bradley ranges over and makes the catch in foul grounds. And that's the first out. So 1 away, and Tori Bennett now. Bennett is 0 for 1. Flew out to left field in her first AB. Had a hit yesterday on a bloop single into left. Any single here, and you have to imagine that Carter's going from first to third. Bennett checks her swing, but the home plate umpire said she went around. Counts 0-1. Now, there is no actual rule in the rule book. If you look at any organizations, if you look at Little League, high school, baseball or softball, the MLB or fast pitch rules, there's nowhere that says the quickly defines what a check swing is. What do you have to do to qualify as a swing? As Bennett puts down the sacrifice, Carter advances to second. And Bennett is retired, so 2 away. Carter stands on second. The check swing is always just up to the discretion. You're gonna hear different definitions from everybody about whether the bat has to break the plane or whether the player has to make a significant attempt at it. As here's a foul ball off the bat of Grace Baines. Now, college baseball and softball are the only ones that give a definitive rule about what a check swing is. And the check swing, the whole reason I brought this up in the first place about 2-3 pitches ago, the swing that Bennett had definitely counts as a swinging strike. But now it's Grace Baines who is at the plate and watches ball one. So the count's 1-1. Nia Carter stands on second base as the tying run, as there are 2 away in the top of the third. Baines is 1 for 1, singled on a line drive into center. One of Iowa's 4 hits. Swings and misses at a ball in her eyes. Strike 2. So you already see that the Iowa offense has had a lot more success their first time through in this game than they did their first time through yesterday. In their first 9 ABs, 7 Hawkeyes struck out. This time only 3, cut the number in half. The 1-2 to Baines misses upstairs. Counts 2-2. But Autumn Pease has pitched 20 straight scoreless innings, now 20 2/3. And 9 2/3 of those come against Iowa this weekend. The deuces are wild, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Carter stands on second, Baines at the plate. And the count goes full as the curveball misses low and away. First base is open, so a walk here wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for Minnesota. As I said, Baines is already 1 for 1, and Klosterman stands on deck, who struck out in her first AB. The full count pitch is swung on and missed. Baines chased out of the zone on the curveball. So the Hawkeyes get a runner in scoring position, but they strand Nia Carter at second. And the Hawkeyes are still looking for their first run of the weekend. After 2.5, Iowa trails it 1-0. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
To the bottom of the third we go, as Iowa trails 1-0 against Minnesota. Iowa's come to bat offensively for 10 innings in the series and have failed to muster a run. In yesterday's game, the team went 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position, and that trend seems to be continuing today. I'll get into more details in just a little bit. Jalen Adams back into the circle for Iowa. First pitch is a called strike to Kayla Chavez, the Minnesota leadoff hitter. So Minnesota has 1-2-3 here in the third, fouls one down the third baseline, counts 0-2. Chavez 0 for 1, popped up to shortstop Torrey Bennett in the first. You can see all the girls are bundled up quite a bit on the field as it's 35 degrees in Minneapolis, 36 now. It's gone up one spot as Chavez spits on the 0-2 and hits it into the netting. Talked about Iowa. The team is 1 for 4 today with runners in scoring position as Chavez fouls off another one. But that one hit came off a single into right field in which Baines stood on second, but an attempt at scoring would have had her thrown out easily. So the one hit that they've had with a runner in scoring position still didn't lead to a run. Chavez lifts a fly ball into left in foul territory. Klosterman has room and makes the catch about 5 feet from the wall. So Chavez fouls out for the first out of the third, and now Amani Bradley will be the batter for the Golden Gophers. Bradley, who has scored the only run of the game thus far, had a one-out triple down the right field line in the first, and later came around and scored on what was called a defensive error on Sammy Diaz. As ball one misses outside. That was Bradley's third triple of the season. Adams behind 1-0 and misses a little bit low. So it's 2 balls and no strikes to the Minnesota left fielder. Iowa offense has just been struggling as a whole as of late. As Adams 2-0 misses inside, and she's going to have to come all the way back from down 3-0. Last weekend against Maryland, the Hawkeyes were shut out in one of the games, and in the other two, they failed to score 3 runs in both of them. And were shut out in yesterday's game and are scoreless thus far through 3. The 3-0 is called strike 1, catches the outside corner. So Adams avoids the 4-pitch walk. Minnesota leads it 1-0 here in the bottom of the third inning. Game 2 of our 3-game series. Game 3 is set to be played tomorrow. Here's the ground ball to Bennett at short. Fields it, throws over in time. Easy peasy out number 2. And now Natalie Den Hartog is going to bat for Minnesota. She popped out in foul territory to Tristan Doster back in the first. It was a prime RBI spot for her as Minnesota had a runner on third with 1 out. Anything in the air, or at least in the outfield, you had to imagine was going to score Bradley. But Den Hartog fouled out to Doster behind the plate. Adams challenges her with the fastball. And Den Hartog couldn't pull the trigger. Strike 1. Iowa, a 28-18 record on the year, 8-7 in conference play. Den Hartog fouls one off the netting, counts 0-2. It's only Iowa's 4th road loss of the season. They're really a team that's been much better on the road this year than they have been at home. Have only had 3 home series this year, but they haven't won any of them. Their first home series was against Nebraska, which they split the 2-game set as the 0-2 misses low for ball 1. Their first home series, Hawkeyes split with Nebraska 1-1, then lost 2-3 against Northwestern, and lost 2-3 last weekend against Maryland. But they've been really, really good on the road as the 1-2 misses outside. in just Big Ten play. They won their first Big Ten series at Penn State. And they swept Michigan State and East Lansing 2 weekends ago. So in Big Ten road series, Iowa's actually undefeated. As here's a foul ball ripped down the left field line. Count remains 2-2. The team as a whole is they're 10-4 on the road. It's a team that really likes going to other places and playing spoiler. But deuces are wild now. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. As Adams goes into the motion and the pitch, and it's another sky-high foul ball. Down the left field line, you can see that Den Hartog is just a little bit out in front of a fastball. If she's out in front on the fastball, out of the hands of Adams, you got to imagine what's going to happen. What's going to happen when we see that off speed? So of course, I'm not the coach. I'm not Adams. I don't know how her pitches are feeling, but I'm throwing an off speed. She doesn't like my idea. Challenges with the fastball again, but it misses inside. And the count is now full. So a full count pitch awaits the Minnesota center fielder. Adams into the motion and a pitch. Here's an off-speed way out in front. A fly ball in shallow center field and a nice sliding catch from Tatiana Roman. For the third and final out, Den Hartog was way out in front of the off-speed. And Roman got a great jump on the ball. Came sprinting in and made a sliding catch just over the Minnesota logo to retire the side. So Minnesota goes 3 up, 3 down in the home half of the third. Going to the fourth. Iowa trails at 1-0. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
So 3 complete between Iowa and Minnesota. Iowa trails at 1-0. Have yet to muster a run, but it's not out of lack of opportunities. The team is 4 for 12 through the first 3 innings. That's a .333 batting average. I mean, that's really good. It's just when there's runners on, they're not pushing the runs across the board. Went 0 for 4 yesterday when runners are on, with runners in scoring position, and are 1 for 4 today, and that one hit still failed to score a run. It was hit so hard off the bat of Diaz into right field. Baines had no chance of scoring from second. And Briley Klosterman will lead things off in the top of the fourth for the Hawkeyes. Klosterman 0 for 1, struck out in her first AB. When corn grows fuel, Iowans win. Ethanol is a renewable fuel that's better for our environment, our health, and our wallets. Share your winning moments using hashtag IowansWin. Plus, you'll be eligible for some fun, corny giveaways. First pitch to Klosterman misses outside, 1-0. And this off-speed is in the zone for strike 1. Iowa really making Pease work a lot harder today than she did yesterday. They're just starting the 4th inning, and she's getting ready to throw her 64th pitch, averaging over 20 pitches an inning. As Klosterman takes strike 2 on the outer half. It's oftentimes, we've seen Iowa gets into 2-strike counts. They're really kind of just taking until maybe they get till 2 strikes. Very rare we've seen a Hawkeye batter swing first pitch this afternoon. The 1-2 to Klosterman is fouled down the left field line. And a nice play by our security guy out there. barehanded catch. So the count's 1-2. Klosterman will get back into the box. Someone we know has the home run capability. 3 of them so far this year, second most on the team. The 1-2 pitch is called strike 3. A fastball on the black. And Klosterman goes down looking. Pease' 5th strikeout of the day. Pease, who struck out 10 Hawkeyes yesterday, is halfway there with 1 out in the top of the 4th. And now Denali Lecker, who got the better of Pease in the first AB today, 1-for-1, singled into left. Fouls off the first one. 0-1. So we're just one batter later after I say it's very rare we've seen Iowa swinging first pitch. Denali Lecker's coming up there, and she's looking for it. She's aggressive. Saw the ball well in her first AB after ripping a low off speed into left field. Was hungry and was looking for another base hit. And watches the 0-1 cross the plate, and Lecker is quickly behind 0-2. Pease, who has thrown 10 1/3 scoreless innings against Iowa this weekend. Lecker's 0-2 is swung on and missed. Chased out of the zone, so 2 strikeouts in the inning for Pease. 6 on the game. And Lecker was just trying to get enough of it and foul it off. Wasn't really trying to put it into the outfield. It was one where she made up her mind early she was going to have to swing. But it curved out of the zone and just curved out of the way of her bat path. Sammy Diaz watches ball 1 a little low. Diaz is 1-for-1, and she has the 1 hit. She had the 1 hit that I just continue to talk about, where she scorched it into right field, but Baines didn't have a chance of scoring from second. In what was the Hawkeyes' best scoring opportunity of the day, bases loaded with 1 out. The 1-0 curveball is in the zone, strike 1. Diaz hitting .275. 1-1 count now. And watches the 1-1 curveball catch the plate, strike 2. So Diaz behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hawkeyes trail 1-0. Pease into the motion, and the pitch is called strike 3. Looked to be a little bit outside, but the umpire rung up Diaz anyway as Pease strikes out the side. And has 7 strikeouts now on the game. After 3.5, Iowa trails 1-0. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
Bottom of the 4th. Iowa trails it 1-0. As Jalen Adams will get back out there for her 4th inning of work. I'm Lucas Strain. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield. And let me know where you're listening from at home. Tweet at me. Say hi, and I'll give you a little shout out on the air. Tweet at me. I am Lucas_A_Strain. Let us know where you're listening from, and I'll say hi to you as we listen to Iowa softball against Minnesota in Game 2 of our 3-game series. Again, that's on Twitter. I'm Lucas_A_Strain. Jess Oakland's going to lead things off in the bottom of the fourth for Minnesota. And she hits a weak pop fly in the infield. Diaz camps under it. And there's out number one. And now Taylor Kraft will bat for Minnesota. She had that weird little double on a pop fly into right field in the first, and which we saw Oakland get thrown out at home after Carter nearly made a spectacular sliding catch. Kraft fouls one off the hands, 0-1. Adams working quickly. I kind of like it. Yeah, get the ball, get back in the circle, back on the rubber, and we saw the pitch clock get introduced in the MLB, and Adams is putting shame to that pitch clock. She's showing those MLB pitchers what real speed is. And there's some real speed on that pitch. Blows the fastball by Kraft. And is quickly ahead 0-2. Is already in the circle again. And Taylor Kraft, the Minnesota catcher, has to take some time and walk it out in the grass. And now the speed does seem to catch up with Adams as this fastball runs inside and hits Kraft right on the left forearm, and she appears to be in some pain. Is that fastball? Adams was working quickly, was really working the inside part of the plate, but this fastball just ran in and hit Kraft on the left forearm, and it looks like we're going to have a runner for her. She is clearly in pain, has an elbow guard on that left elbow. But it missed the guard and hit her just on the outside of her left forearm. And we will have a runner over at first base for her. As here's a sacrifice bunt fielded by Baines, and throw over to a covering Streff is in time. So Strelo gets the sacrifice. And the runner moves up. The runner that we have out at second base is number 24, Billy Connell. Connell is a freshman, 5'6" freshman from Laverne, Minnesota. It's her 14th appearance on the season, and they're assumedly all just running opportunities. She has 1 AB on the year. And in that 1 AB, she struck out, so she's primarily a runner. And here's a fly ball hit into left field by Elke, and Klosterman will make the catch. So it was a hit by pitch, but other than that, a very quick and efficient inning for Jalen Adams. And Minnesota goes scoreless, so after 4, Iowa trails 1-0. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
So we head to the top of the 5th inning. And what has only seen 1 run scored in this game. Minnesota leads it 1-0. Tristan Doster is going to be the one to lead things off for Iowa offensively. Iowa City Tire and Service is a proud supporter of Hawkeyes softball. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Iowa City Tire, where service actually comes first. As I'll look for a score update of Iowa baseball as well. After they won yesterday against Nebraska, they're leading it right now in the middle of the 7th inning, 8-0. Marcus Morgan got the start, went 6 innings, allowed no runs on 3 hits, and struck out 5. So the Iowa pitching staff doing excellent like they have most of the season. Ty Langenberg scheduled to get the start tomorrow. I talked to Ty after yesterday's game, ran into him. Said hi, asked for a little bit of a scouting report. And we expect him to do well. Tristan Doster is leading things off in the top of the fifth. Watch a strike one. Doster 0 for 1. Grounded into a fielder's choice in her first AB. The bases were loaded with one out. She hit a weak ground ball to shortstop, and the shortstop Oakland charged and made the throw home to cut off the lead runner. And after we saw Kraft was the one who got hit on the forearm and was later ran for by Connell, as Doster fouls one off. Kraft is back behind the plate, so she appears to be okay if she's good enough to be catching. Again, it was on her left forearm where she got hit, and if you're a catcher, you kind of need your left arm to be in perfect condition because you're going to be catching. You're going to be catching a lot of softballs coming in there. So the count's 1-2 to Doster. And she fouls one off over the netting and over the first base dugout. So the count remains 1-2. Iowa has no runs, but they do have 4 hits. Minnesota 1 run on 3 hits, and the 1 run came off of an Iowa defensive error. Counts 1-2. And it misses outside, does the curveball. Counts 2-2. Said that Iowa defensive error, and it came off of the glove of Sammy Diaz. Now, the official statisticians might have had more looks at the replay than I did, but at the 1 or 2 glances I saw, it looked like even if Diaz had made a catch, she had mistimed her stretch a little bit. But even if she had made the stretch, I feel like the batter would have beaten the throw to first anyway. But they called it an error as Doster hits a pop fly in the infield, and Oakland, the shortstop, camps under it for out number 1. So the run officially goes down as an unearned run. So Adams has got to be happy about that, but Diaz probably not too happy with the defensive error. Now it's Anna Streff, but we're actually going to see a pinch hitter now with Avery Jackson. So Jackson, who we do occasionally see, has gotten a couple of spot starts for Iowa, but hasn't played since the Northwestern series. He has the pinch hit opportunity now. Swings and misses. And the count evens at 1-1. Have to imagine that the reason that Streff is getting pinch hit for is due to the fact she went 0 for 2 yesterday with 2 strikeouts and struck out in her only AB today. So has struggled this weekend against Autumn Pease, but pretty much everyone in the Hawkeye order has. The 1-1 is a curveball called strike. So it's 1-2. Pease, who went 7 shutout innings yesterday, has gone 4 1/3 shutout, 11 1/3 innings this weekend against Iowa. As Jackson chases out of the zone, tried to check her swing, but nearly went all the way around. So that's a swinging strikeout and the 8th one of the game for Autumn Pease. Back to the top of the order for Iowa, and Nia Carter. Carter really the only one you could say who has had real success against Pease this weekend. But who doesn't Carter have success against, am I right? The 0-1 off speed misses low, ball 1. Yesterday, Carter went 2 for 3 with a double off the right field wall. Today is 1 for 2 with a bunt single in the 3rd. So has 3 hits over the last 2 games. For Iowa, the 1-0 misses low and outside. So 8 hits against Pease in the 11 innings she's gone, and 3 of them belong to Nia Carter. Carter is ahead 2-0. And hits a line drive into right field, but it's going to fade foul. And that was one of the best charges that I've seen Nia Carter put into a ball all season long. What would have been her first home run of the year. But it was just right of the foul pole. And it's just going to go down as a long strike. That home run would have tied the game, too. But the count is just 2-1. And fastball is called strike 2 in the lower inside corner. So deuces are wild, 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs to the Iowa leadoff batter. Pease has 8 strikeouts after striking out 10 Hawkeyes yesterday. Into the motion, and the pitch misses outside. So the count is now full. So Carter has worked the count full. Base hit, ball 4 mentality now for Nia Carter. Pease is into the motion and the delivery. Hard ground ball back up the middle. And it's gloved by Oakland, the shortstop, but she has no throw over to first base. So Carter digs that one out, and that's going to be an infield single. And now Carter stands on first base as the tying run. You have to ask the question, at this point, is it time to get Carter moving? And when I say moving, like, it's time to steal. Carter is 8 for 11 in stolen bases this year. As Roman swings first pitch and hits a pop fly into shallow right center field, and it's going to drop in front of DeHartog. Roman's advancing towards second base. The tag is in time at the diving Roman. So Carter's going to get stranded at third base. The run did not cross in time as Carter tried to advance from third. It was a pop fly in shallow right center field. It dropped in front of a diving DeHartog. And after it dropped, there was a bit of no man's land, and Tatiana Roman tried to advance to second base. But the Golden Gophers picked up the ball and tagged a head-first sliding Roman before Carter was able to cross home and tie the game. So the Hawkeyes stay scoreless as we head to the bottom of the 5th. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
So one thing that I have talked about quite a bit over the last 2 broadcasts is the Hawkeyes' high strikeout totals, but something that you have to remember is this is Autumn Pease, who is pitching for Minnesota. And Pease, who was just drafted in the 3rd round last week. And she just tallied her 200th strikeout of the season, which leads the Big Ten by a long shot. So the Hawkeyes have nothing to hang their head over on the strikeout totals, but they'd still love to push the first run across the board of the weekend. Delaney Cox is going to lead off for Minnesota, the first baseman. Hit a sacrifice bunt in her first plate appearance today. Avery Jackson remains in the game defensively for Iowa. She moves over to third base. And Grace Baines moves over to second. And she's fairly comfortable there, you could say, as Cox fouls one off. As Baines was the primary second baseman last year. So the count's 0-1 to the first batter at the bottom of the fifth. 0-1 misses outside, counts 1-1. Jalen Adams has gone 4 innings, allowed 1 run, although it wasn't earned, on 3 hits. Doesn't have a strikeout. Is really trusting her defense, and this changeup's yanked high. And the count's 2-1. But it's been a pretty good afternoon for the freshman from Fort Dodge. Here's a fly ball into shallow left field. In comes a diving Klosterman, and it's just out of her reach, but foul. Boy, Klosterman nearly had a SportsCenter top 10 moment. Just a tad late on the diving attempt. It landed foul. When she first stood up, it appeared to be limping a little bit, but she's all right. And the count's 2-2. But that would have been a heck of a play from the Iowa left fielder. And here's another one hitting her direction. Another diving attempt, but she's just late again. Oh, that's got to hurt. And I'm not saying physically wise that the diving attempt hurt. I'm saying this just got to hurt mentally. She just had a diving attempt where she was just short. Has to make the slow jog/walk back to her original position. And then it's hit in nearly an identical place, a carbon copy of an attempt. And she was just late again. So Briley Klosterman misses a pair of diving attempts, but they both went foul. And now we see Coach Gillespie is out talking to the umpire. It appears she was never told, and quite frankly, I was never told either. I'm upset by this too, Coach. Yeah, I'm upset by it too. We were never told that this was a pinch hitter in this spot for Delaney Cox. It's Addison Leschber who's at the plate. She's been at the plate the whole time, so it's not a substitution here. Leschber is at the plate in the pinch hit opportunity. She's the one who's hit the couple of balls down the left field line. So the count's 2-2, and it misses outside, and Leschber works the full count. So the count's full to the pinch hitting freshman, and she works the full count walk. Leschber, not a threat to run either, is looking into the dugout, seeing if she's going to get ran for, and she will. And it's just going to be Delaney Cox re-entering the game. So Leschber got the plate appearance, worked the leadoff walk. And now Breezy Burnett's at the plate, and leadoff walks are not something. It's a overused saying in baseball, in softball, where a leadoff walk just leads to trouble. And there's a reason that it's an overused saying, because it's true. You saw a perfect example of this in an MLB game today. Here's a bunt, and Avery Jackson fields it, throw down to second, but it's dropped by Bennett. A great play from Avery Jackson at third base, popped up and fired over to second. And it just bounced out of the glove of Tori Bennett, who was covering second. See if we can get a look at the replay here. I think Bennett was looking to make the turn and look for a double play, even though there was really no double play to be made. So that's going to go down as a fielding error for Bennett. So a pair of errors now defensively for Iowa, in this game. The first one led to a run. Now this one is led to runners on first and second, and statistically they're officially going to call it a bunt single for Burnett. And then they're going to say that Cox just advanced on a fielding error by Torrey Bennett. Now, I'm not really sure how that's entirely possible. You can't have, on a force play like that, I'm actually saying, like, in the rules of softball and baseball, you cannot have a single and an error on a force play, on the same force play. You can't do it. But that's how they're officially ruling it for now. So Minnesota has runners on first and second with nobody out. And Kayla Chavez is at the plate in an 0-1 count. Still trying to just wrap my head around how they're scoring this. Chavez shows bunt, misses at it in her eyes, and the count's 0-2. Chavez is 0 for 2, and if she were to get a hit today, that would mark a 10-game hitting streak for the leadoff batter. So they officially changed it. As here's a fly ball in foul territory. Diaz makes the catch in front of the first base dugout for out number 1. So a big out there for Adams. They officially changed it. They call it a fielder's choice on the bunt attempt, but an error. So it's essentially just an error, because a fielder's choice doesn't really mean anything statistically. So no hit against Adams' record. And there's runners on first and second with 1 out. And here's a pass ball that just gets off the glove of Doster. Cox advances from second to third, and Burnett follows her from first to second. So now there's runners on second and third with 1 away. And it was called a strike, and it was just missed. Just a whiff job from Doster behind the plate. This one's fouled off. And the count is 0-2. Apologies for a little bit of delay on my part. I'm trying to make sure my statistics, my book is up to date. So the count is 0-2 with Amani Bradley at the plate, who is 1 for 2 today. Has tripled and scored the only run of the game. The 0-2 misses outside. Counts 1-2. First base stands open. So Iowa could walk and put the force play on at home, but it would bring up Natalie Den Hartog, who hit a home run yesterday. So the count's 1-2. Adams into the motion and the pitch. Here's a ground ball along the right side, and Baines dives and it hits off her glove and sneaks into the outfield. 2 runs are going to score for Minnesota as they take a 3-0 lead. It's going to go down as an infield single. It just hit off the glove of a diving Baines. Scored it into the outfield, and by the time Carter was able to pick it up, Breezy Burnett had wheeled her way around second and scored. So now Minnesota holds a 3-0 lead here in the bottom of the 5th. But only one of those runs is earned as Den Hartog fouls one off her foot. So Jalen Adams has gone 4 1/3 innings, allowed 3 runs, but only one of them will go down as an earned run. And we know errors is something that have plagued Iowa all year. Coming into the weekend, they had the 4th worst fielding percentage in the Big Ten and have made the 4th most errors. The 0-1 misses up high, counts 1-1. Due up in the top half of the 6th for Iowa will be 3, 4, and 5 with Bennett, Baines, and Klosterman. So a really good spot here for Iowa to get some runs on the board and maybe even tie the game. And here's a pop fly on the infield. Bennett goes over and makes the two-handed catch, and there are 2 away. So Den Hartog moves to 0 for 3. And now it's Jess Oakland, who is 0 for 2. She reached on an error in the first and popped up in her 2 plate appearances today. As Adams pumps in strike 1 to the freshman, and the count's 0-1. Minnesota, who is behind Iowa in the Big Ten standings coming into the weekend, but it's just their home record is very, very good. And I'm saying Iowa has a really good home record. Iowa's really good on the road. Minnesota is really good at home. 10-2 record. Well, just sitting 4-10 on the road. Adams is now ahead of Oakland 0-2 after Oakland ripped a foul ball down the left field line. 0-2 count. Bradley stands on first. Minnesota leads it 3-0 after scoring 2 here in the bottom of the 5th. And here's a pop fly that's going to fade foul. Count remains 0-2. Jackson gave chase at third base, but just ran out of room along the left side. Oakland went 1 for 3 yesterday. And here's a stolen base attempt. Throw down to second is late from Doster. So a steal. A stolen base for Amani Bradley. That is her first steal of the season. First attempt in her first successful swipe. None of her career, though. She went 5 for 5 this is her first year at Minnesota. So it's her first stolen base as a Golden Gopher. As here's a foul ball. But as a transfer from Cal, she had a couple of stolen bases for the girls in gold out on the West Coast. So the count's 1-2. 2 outs, runner on second. Adams throws the pitch. Here's a hard ground ball, but pulled foul. So we'll do it all over again. Iowa has no runs, but they do have 6 hits. Are out-hitting Minnesota 6-4. But the errors have proved to be what's caused the problems today. A pair of errors leading to 2 of Minnesota's 3 runs. Adams is ahead 1-2, and the changeup misses low. Low and inside. And deuces are wild. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. Bradley stands on second. Adams takes the sign, throws the pitch. Fastball up high. Oakland offers at it, but checks her swing. And works a full count. Adams getting ready to throw what will be her 27th pitch of the inning. Her pitch count still in great shape, though. Under 90. Here's a changeup ground ball down the left side. Jackson knocks it down in front of Bradley and throws over to first for out number 3. Really nice backhanded play from Avery Jackson over at third. But Minnesota scores 2 more and extends their lead. They lead it 3-0 as we head to the 6th inning. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number one.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
Tori Bennett's going to lead off for Iowa. Here in the top of the 6th inning, after Minnesota extended their lead off of a pair of runs a half inning ago and lead it 3-0. Iowa's still looking for their first run of the weekend after getting shut out yesterday and are scoreless thus far. 12 offensive innings, 0 runs to show for it. Bennett is 0 for 1. She watches ball 1 up high. Flew out into left and had a sacrifice bunt. And this isn't all on the Iowa offense either. This is a very good pitcher in Autumn Pease. He has now thrown 22 straight scoreless innings. 12 of them, of course, coming against Iowa. The 1-0 curveball is called strike 1. Bennett, a perfect candidate to get things going and try and get some flow for the Iowa offense, tied for 9th most hits in the conference, 1-1 curveball is called strike, and Bennett doesn't like it. We've seen that call all day, a curveball that starts on the plate and just curves off of it. And our home plate umpire has been calling a strike all afternoon. And he doesn't change here, so the count's 1-2. Pease into the motion. Torrey just gets a foul ball. And will stay alive with 2. I'm Lucas Strain. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network. And what has been a very busy day in the world of Iowa athletics. The 1-2 pitch, and Bennett chases way out of the zone for strike 3. So Bennett goes down swinging, and Pease picks up her 9th strikeout of the game, 19th one of the weekend. And now it'll be Grace Baines, who is now the new Iowa second baseman. Baines is 1 for 2. Singled into center on a line drive and struck out. Watches strike 1 go by. Baines, a .268 hitter, hitting .333, .394 slugging, is 1 for 2 today. And watches the 0-1, is called a strike, and falls behind 0-2. And Iowa baseball officially gets the shutout victory over Nebraska in Iowa City, as the 0-2 is called strike 3 on Baines. And Autumn Pease gets her 10th strikeout of the game, matches yesterday's total. So back-to-back games in which Autumn Pease has racked up double-digit Ks. You know, Briley Klosterman will bat. Klosterman 0 for 2. Has struck out twice. But as I just said, Iowa baseball took home the win and confirmed the series win. As they won yesterday, they win today by a final score of 8-0. Marcus Morgan gets the win. As Klosterman watches ball one go past. Counts 1-0. And Klosterman fouls one off down the first baseline, 1-1. It's not just the official university team in action either. The Iowa club baseball team is in action this weekend, traveling to Ames. And what's a very important weekend for them. Try and keep playoff hopes alive. Back-to-back regional champs is the Iowa club team. So the count's 1-1 to Briley Klosterman. As Iowa trails it 3-0. The 1-1 is called a strike, and I mean that one's gonna be tough for me to defend on the umpire side of things. As a umpire and official myself, I never try and say something bad about an umpire, but that fastball was pretty far out of the zone. And I really wouldn't have called that one a strike if I was the one wearing black and blue. And Klosterman swings and misses for strike 3. As Autumn Pease strikes out the side for the second time today and now has 11 strikeouts on the game. Has gone 6 innings of shutout softball. So as we head to the home half of the 6th, Iowa trails it 3-0. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oaknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
As we head to the bottom of the 6th, Taylor Kraft is going to lead things off. For Minnesota, Kraft has reached base twice today. He has doubled on a pop fly in a shallow right field and was hit by a pitch. The Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series is all about celebrating our student athletes as well as our state's corn farmers. Just like the Cyclones and Hawkeyes work hard all year to get ready for the season ahead, so do Iowa's corn farmers, growing a crop used in over 4,000 products. That's a win for all Iowans. Speaking of Cy-Hawk Series, it's going to be coming up this upcoming week as Kraft gets hit by another pitch. So that's the second time she's been hit in this game. This one doesn't seem to sting as much. But the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series is next week. We're less than a week away. On Wednesday at 5 o'clock, the Hawkeyes will host the Cyclones in the in-state rivalry in what will be the only matchup of the regular season. So the leadoff runner reaches for Minnesota after Kraft gets hit by the pitch. As Adams fools Sidney Strelo with a patented, really slow changeup, to say the least. Called strike 1. Strelo is 1 for 1, is singled in a line drive into left and laid down a sacrifice bunt. The 0-1 misses upstairs, counts 1-1. Iowa trails it 3-0 here in the bottom of the 6th inning in Game 2 of our 3-game series. And here's a fly ball into left center field. More center as the wind pushes it. Roman camps under and makes the catch, and there's out number 1. Nice easy play for the Hawkeye center fielder. Now it's Maddie Elke for Minnesota, the designated player. She's 0 for 1, but has walked. Had a hit in yesterday's game, did Elke. As Adams misses on a screwball outside, count is 1-0. Getting ready to throw her 90th pitch of the game is Adams. He's pitched really well, 5 1/3 innings, allowed 3, but only 1 of them earned. The 1-0 is called strike 1, and the count evens at 1 apiece. What's been an hour and 48-minute game. After yesterday, we went just about 2 hours and 5 minutes, or around there. And here's a ground ball to second base, backhanded by Baines. Flip over to Bennett is in time for the fielder's choice. No chance at the double play, but a nice play by the Hawkeye middle infielders to cut off the lead runner. Again, Baines, who had moved over from third after Avery Jackson came in as a pinch hit opportunity for Anna Streff. Jackson, kind of a utility player, can play anywhere defensively for Iowa, but more comfortable over at third than she is at second. So she plays third, and Baines slides over to second base. And there are 2 away now as Delaney Cox will dig in, watches ball 1 up high. Cox was pinch hit for the last time her spot in the order came around, and her only plate appearance of today. She has a sacrifice bunt. She rips a ground ball down the third base line, but foul. Cox re-entered the game as after her spot in the lineup, Leschber, who was the one pinch hitting for her, drew a walk. Cox re-entered the game as a runner and later came around and scored just last inning. She'll look to do something offensively on her own here as she fouls off the 1-1 into the netting, and the count goes 1-2. So 1 ball, 2 strikes to the Minnesota first baseman. Adams is talking with her coaches in the dugout a little bit, gets the sign, looks in, and pumps one upstairs, and it's called a ball. Right around the lettering, and we know that's something she really likes to do when she gets to a 2-strike count. Haven't seen it as often today, as Adams is still looking for her first strikeout of the game. But whenever she gets to 2 strikes, she loves throwing something high. She goes high again, gets Cox to swing, but she fouls it off. And Avery Jackson gives chase, but just runs out of room down the left field line. So deuces are wild. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Maddie Elke stands on first base. Hawkeyes trail it 3-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. The 2-2 is fouled off over the heads in the press box. So we're going to do it all over again. Cox only a .202 hitter this year, but a really good defensive player over at first base. The 2-2 is up and in the eyes, and Cox doesn't offer. Count goes full, and Elke will be running on the pitch. Due up in the top half of the 7th for Iowa will be Lecker, Diaz, and Doster. So the count is full. And here's a hard ground ball down the left field side, but foul. So the long at-bat continues for Delaney Cox. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat between Jalen Adams and Delaney Cox. Adams about to throw her 100th pitch of the afternoon. So the count's full, 2 outs, and swung on and missed for strike 3. Jalen Adams gets her first strikeout of the afternoon. And we head to the top of the 7th inning as the Hawkeyes are down to their last chance. And the ones who are going to be trying to score for Iowa will be Denali Lecker, Sammy Diaz, and Tristan Doster. Lecker, we know, has the home run ability, but a home run doesn't do anything for Iowa right now except for boost morale. A 3-run game, at this point, you just got to get runners on. And I see Autumn Pease is making her way back out to the circle. And we will be coming back out to try and finish off the 7th. Remember, yesterday she threw her 4th complete game shutout on the season. At this point is 3 outs away from doing it in back-to-back games and shutting out the Hawkeyes over 14 innings of work. If Minnesota were to hold on and win this game, it would be their 4th Big Ten Series win of the year. They've won 3 of their 4 that they've played thus far. The 3 wins over Penn State, Indiana, and Michigan State. So very similar to what Iowa's done. Their series wins in Big Ten play over Penn State and Michigan State. Are not scheduled to play Indiana yet this year. The Hawkeyes only have 2 more Big Ten series left on the schedule after this weekend. So Denali Lecker is going to lead things off, swings at the first pitch and fouls it off the back of the netting. Strike 1. Lecker's 1 for 2. Singled on a rip into left field in the 2nd inning and struck out swinging in the 4th. She's behind 0-1 now. And the curveball is called strike, and there it is again where the umpire loves that spot where if it starts on the plate and cuts off at the last minute, he's calling it. And at this point, it's consistency. And as long as the umpire's being consistent with the call, there's not much you can really do to complain. So Lecker is behind 0-2. Pease into the motion and her pitch, and here's a poke out into center field. It's going to stay in the infield, knocked down by Strelo, who throws over to retire Lecker. It looked like it was hit better off of the bat of Lecker. It looked like she was able to just hook it into center field, but it just kind of died in the air, and Strelo, the Minnesota second baseman, came over and made the play for out number 1. So now it'll bring up Sammy Diaz, who is also 1 for 2. She singled on a scorching ball into right in the 2nd inning and struck out looking. That hit that Diaz had to right field in the 2nd was Iowa's only hit with runners in scoring position this weekend as she's ahead 2-0. It was a hit with a runner in scoring position. However, she hit it so hard that Baines, who was on second, had no chance of scoring on the play. She's ahead 2-0 now, as Pease misses up high for ball 3. So the first 3-0 count of the game for Pease. Now yesterday, we saw her pitch perfectly as well, and she didn't throw her first and only walk of the game until the 7th inning. And it looks like she could be doing something similar here. See if Diaz has the take sign. Is ahead 3-0. Does take, and it's ball 4, low and inside. So a 1-out walk for Sammy Diaz. Now it'll be Tristan Doster. As Autumn Pease has taken her time in the circle just a little bit. But Doster is now in the box. Pease takes the sign, and the pitch is taken, strike 1. Doster is 0 for 2, grounded into a fielder's choice with the bases loaded, and is popped up on the infield. And the 0-1 is called a ball, low and away. That curveball skipped across the dirt. Counts 1-1. Doster, a .319 hitter this year, .364 OBP. Is ahead now, 2-1, so it may be Pease. He's finally starting to show a little lack of command. Getting ready to throw her 113th pitch of the game. And this after throwing 111 yesterday. Maybe the arm is just getting a little bit tired. The 2-1 is a fastball thrown high, so it's 3-1 now. And Pease is in trouble of throwing back-to-back walks. Have to imagine now that Doster definitely has the take sign, because a walk here would make the tying run at the plate. Doster's ahead 3-1, and the pitch is low for ball 4. So the tying run is now walking up to the batter's box. As Doster and Diaz both draw a walk and stand on first and second with one away. Well, I was checking to see if maybe we'd have a pinch hitter here in the 9 spot, but no. Avery Jackson is going to be the batter. We're going to have a runner over at first base, actually. A runner for Doster, who's the Iowa catcher and not the quickest on the team. It's going to be Riley Moss running over at first. So Diaz is on second, Moss is at first, and Avery Jackson is the batter for Iowa. Jackson, who came in as a pinch hitter in the 5th and has stayed in the game defensively since. Is 0 for 1, struck out, and this ball is way up and out of the hand of Pease. So let's see if I can do some math here. Out of her last 10 pitches, 9 of them have been balls. Have Adam Pease's pitches. You have to imagine the take sign's on. But Jackson swings at a pitch in the zone. Swings through at strike 1. It was going to be called a strike anyway, and it was a really nice hack from Jackson. Because, yeah, you know here, a home run will tie the game. And Jackson does have a home run under her belt this weekend. Or not this weekend, this season. The 1-1 is cut on and missed. And the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nia Carter waits on deck. The one Hawkeye you really want to be at the plate when it matters most. But Jackson's the one with the bat in her hands now. Is behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pease's pitch is low on the off speed. And the count is now 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes with Avery Jackson at the plate. 2 on, 1 out. Iowa trails by 3. The 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed. Avery Jackson goes down swinging for the 2nd time today. And Autumn Pease gets her 12th strikeout of the game. And it's Nia Carter at the dish now. Carter is 2 for 3. Has a bunt single and reached on an infield single as well. The best hitter on this Iowa team. And she hits a ground ball that's going to stay in the infield, knocked down by Oakland. It's going to be marked as an infield single, but a nice play from the Minnesota shortstop Oakland to keep it on the dirt. and stop Diaz from scoring on the play. So Iowa gets their second hit of the day with runners in scoring position, but again, it was in a spot where the runner on second wasn't able to score. So now Tatiana Roman is up. Roman is 1 for 3. And she watches a ball up and out for ball 1. Bases are loaded with 2 outs. The go-ahead run is at the plate in Roman. Roman, not a power hitter. 0 home runs in her Hawkeye career. The count's 1-0. She swings, fouls it off down the third base line. Roman, 1 for 3, has struck out, fouled out down the left field line, and hit a bloop single into right center field. Was thrown out trying to stretch it into a double. The count's 1-1 now. Pease into the motion and the pitch. Called strike on the outside black. So the count's 1-2. Minnesota fans now getting on their feet. Tatiana Roman at the plate, bases loaded with 2 outs. 3-run ball game in the top of the 7th inning. Pease into the motion and the pitch is a ground ball to third base. Chavez fields, throws across the diamond in time for out number 3. And that'll be the ball game. Minnesota wins it by a final score of 3-0, and Autumn Pease gets her 5th shutout of the season. Has shut out the Hawkeyes both games this weekend. Has gone 14 innings of scoreless softball. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with our post-game coverage of this edition of Iowa Softball. Final score, Minnesota 3, Iowa 0. We'll be right back after this.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
It's time for our post-game coverage of this edition of Iowa Softball. Final score, Iowa loses to Minnesota 3-0. Second game in a row in which Iowa is shut out. And it marks Minnesota's 4th series win in Big Ten play. Iowa moves to 28-19 on the season and a perfect split 8-8 in Big Ten play. They'll return tomorrow to look to avoid the sweep before returning home later next week. If we look at what happened in this game, the first person you have to highlight is, of course, Autumn Pease. When I saw she was getting the nod in this game, I was just asking myself, how was she going to back up yesterday's performance in which she threw the complete game shutout and struck out 10 Hawkeyes? Well, she just did even better today. Got the complete game shutout. It marked her 5th one on the season. Struck out 12 Hawkeyes, too shy of her career and season high, which is 14. 12 strikeouts. So in 2 games against Iowa this weekend, she's gone 14 innings, allowed no runs, and has struck out 22. 22 strikeouts over a 14-inning span for the Big Ten strikeout leader in Autumn Pease. She allowed 7 hits and held Iowa to just not. They're getting runners on board. They were just had the inability to push them across. Minnesota jumped out to the early 1-0 lead. Bradley hit a 1-out triple down the right field line in the bottom of the first for Minnesota. And then Jess Oakland reached on a defensive error from first baseman Sammy Diaz. And that's how Minnesota took a 1-0 lead in the first. And the score remained 1-0 until the bottom of the 5th, in which another Iowa defensive error proved to be the problem. After there was there was a runner on first with nobody out, and Minnesota laid a bunt down. Avery Jackson, who was at third, came in, charged hard, made a really nice play and a really good throw over to second base to cut down the lead runner, and Tori Bennett just was looking to make an exchange quickly and try and turn a double play, and the ball just popped out of her glove. So everyone was safe on the play, and both runners on that play eventually came around and scored later that inning, which is how Minnesota scored their second and third and what eventually came out to be the only runs of the game. If we look at the Hawkeyes on their side of things, Jalen Adams is the one who got the start today, and you really can't complain about anything she did. She went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs, but only one of the runs was earned. In those 6 innings, she gave up 4 hits, and she was really just letting her defense make plays behind her. Only had 1 strikeout, and it didn't come until the 6th inning. It might have actually been the last batter she faced as well. Was really trusting her defense, walked 2. And the Iowa defense just left her a little bit short at some points today. Adams pitched well. Final stat line will look a little skewered, but she did really well. As for the Iowa offense, they got 7 hits, and the point that I keep bringing up, I brought it up yesterday and I bring it up today, it's how they hit when they have runners on base. And the thing is, it's going to look good in the stat box today. With runners on, they went 4 for 11 today. When a runner in scoring position, they went 2 for 7. They did better than Minnesota did when they had a runner in scoring position. It was just both of those 2 hits came when Iowa had a runner on second base, and the way that it was hit didn't allow the runner on second to round third and score. So while Iowa was getting the hits with runners on, they weren't the right hits. But they inched their way closer. They only got 4 hits yesterday, nearly doubled that today with 7. And a large part of that, of course, has to come from Nia Carter. Carter went 3 for 4. It's her final stat line, including a hit in all 3 of her last at-bats. had a bunt single and a pair of infield singles. She had one of those hits where there was a runner in scoring position. They just weren't able to score it. So Nia Carter has been continuing her impressive campaign so far this season with another 3 hits. Had 2 yesterday. Has 5 hits now. Iowa has 11 as a team. Nia Carter has 5 of them. Has really been carrying this Iowa offense. But in softball, it can't be a one-woman show. You got to have a team effort, especially since Nia Carter's not the power type. You got to have people in front of her to get on, and you got to have people behind her to drive her in. Now, I'm not saying that the team is incapable of that. The team is very good. This is a very good softball team. They're just in a bit of a rut right now. That's all it is. It's a team that we know can score runs. They're just facing who is a very, very, very good pitcher in Autumn Pease. The Iowa offense has nothing to hang their hats over. It's a team that has the ability to bounce back. It's a team full of very good players. I've talked about Nia Carter a lot. Tori Bennett's top 10 in hits. Let's see. Grace Baines has the second most triples, the third most triples in the Big Ten. Sammy Diaz is top 10 in walks. Denali Lecker at the start of Big Ten play was second or third in RBIs. It's a team that has the potential. It's just in this weekend, it just hasn't shown up, and that's just how softball works sometimes. Sometimes you just don't have your best game. Today was one of those days. They're going to look to bounce back tomorrow in what is the 3rd and final game of the series against Minnesota. That's a noon start time. Have to imagine Brianna Vasquez is going to get the ball for Iowa, and maybe we see Autumn Pease again, but she threw, let's see how many pitches I can see that she found today. She threw 124 pitches today, threw 111 yesterday. You could clearly see in the 7th inning she had grown tired. It's just her coach was keeping her in there to work for that complete game shutout. So you have to imagine that Iowa might see a different pitcher in tomorrow's game. Brianna Vasquez will likely get the ball for the Hawkeyes as they look to avoid the sweep. After tomorrow's series finale against Minnesota, they return Wednesday for the Iowa Corn Cyhawk series at home against Iowa State before what will be their last home Big Ten series of the regular season against Rutgers the following weekend. So that's going to do it for our post-game coverage of this Iowa softball game. As a reminder, your final score, Minnesota 3, Iowa 0. I thank you again for listening to this coverage of Iowa softball. I'm Lucas Strain. You've been listening to Learfield. Wherever you are, have a good night, everybody, and as always, go Hawks.
Iowa Hawkeye Softball has been brought to you by Homewood and Home 2 Suites, preferred hotel of the Hawkeye Radio Network. Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. When corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Oak Knoll, an active life care community. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Wimmer's Meats, the official hot dog of the Hawkeyes. And by Iowa City Tire and Service, a proud supporter of Hawkeye softball. Iowa City Tire, where service actually comes first. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.